The blood surged to my fingertips, causing them to tingle as I clutched the key card to my own hotel, observing my sister obstructing the entrance. My father's hearty laughter reverberated from within the Grand Azure lobby, the very lobby I had designed, the hotel I owned, while I stood outside like an unwelcome solicitor. "You can't possibly think you're getting in," Vanessa remarked, her tone shifting to a patronizing whisper. She adjusted her designer dress, a replica I instantly recognized from the initial sketches my designer friend had shared during our lunch last week, and positioned herself more firmly in the doorway. "This is the Grand Azure, Ellie. The tasting menu alone costs more than you earn in a month." If only she knew I had personally crafted that menu with our Michelin-starred chef. "He's my father, too," I stated, my voice more composed than I anticipated. The small envelope in my clutch, containing the deed to a vacation villa in Tuscany, one of the Grand Azure's most exclusive properties, suddenly felt burdensome. "My name is Elena. I'm 38 and a hospitality entrepreneur. This is the tale of how I reclaim my rightful place at a table I actually own." "Mom and Dad were very clear," Vanessa continued, checking her reflection in the glass doors. "They only want successful individuals here, people who won't bring shame to the family." The irony hit me like a physical blow. Just yesterday, I had approved a $100 million expansion of the Grand Azure chain. Today, I was apparently too embarrassing to enter my own hotel. I resisted the urge to laugh as the ridiculousness of the situation washed over me. 10 years ago, when I chose to leave the family's small accounting firm to pursue hospitality management, they had all but disowned me. My father's words still echoed in my mind. "No daughter of mine is going to be a glorified waitress." So, I let them think what they wanted. Let them believe I was struggling in restaurant management. Meanwhile, I had built Azure Hospitality Group into one of the most successful luxury hotel chains in the country. The once celebrated waitress now owned 35-star hotels spanning 3 continents. "Elena," my mother's piercing voice interrupted my thoughts as she emerged behind Vanessa. "What are you doing here? We talked about this." No, they had talked about it. Earlier today, I received a text from my mother. "Don't attend Dad's birthday. It's at the Grand Azure. You can't afford it. Don't bring shame upon us." I quietly held up a small envelope, saying, "I brought a gift." "Oh, what is it? A gift card to Olive Garden?" Vanessa chuckled. "Or did you manage to save enough tips to buy him something from the mall?" My mother's gaze sharpened at my simple clutch bag, a handmade Italian leather piece that was worth more than Vanessa's car. "Whatever it is, I'm sure your sister's gift is more fitting," she remarked. "She just became a junior partner at her firm, you know." I was aware, just as I knew her firm was in talks to lease office space in one of my buildings. The lease they urgently needed but couldn't quite afford. My real estate division had sent me the reports just yesterday. "Vanessa is doing so well," Mom continued, clearly enjoying her favorite subject. "New house in the suburbs, luxury car, a wonderful fiancé with great prospects." She paused, giving me a scrutinizing look. "And you? Well, at least you're making an effort, I guess." I reflected on my penthouse overlooking Central Park, my collection of rare sports cars, and the private jet I had flown in on this morning. "Yes, Mom. At least I'm making an effort." "Speaking of efforts," Vanessa sneered. "That dress, couldn't you have put in a little more effort? This is the Grand Azure, not some diner." I ran my hand over the elegant black silk custom-made by one of Paris's top designers, the same designer who had declined to create anything for Vanessa last month. A detail I learned when my stylist mentioned the incident during my last fitting. "It's what I could manage," I replied calmly. "Well, you can't enter," Vanessa announced. "We have the entire VIP floor reserved. This area is reserved for family and esteemed guests only." The VIP section. My VIP section. The one I personally revamped last year, choosing every piece of art and crystal chandelier myself. "The esteemed guests," I inquired, genuinely interested in who had been invited. "Oh, you wouldn't recognize them," my mother waved her hand dismissively. "The Andersons. They run that prominent law firm. The Blackwoods. Old money, you know. And Mr. Harrison from the bank. All very influential individuals. I held back a smile. Thomas Anderson rented 3 of my properties. The Blackwoods had recently pleaded for a membership at my most exclusive resort. And Mr. Harrison, his bank was currently pursuing a significant loan from my investment group. Right, I said, very influential individuals. Exactly, Vanessa said, clearly happy that I recognized my position. So you understand why you can't be here. What would people think if they knew Dad's unsuccessful daughter was serving their drinks? Vanessa, our mother gently admonished, though her eyes showed approval. Be kind. Elena made her choices. If she had stayed with the family business like you did, things would be different. The family business that now occupies a modest office in one of my buildings, always struggling to pay rent. My property manager sends me monthly updates on all tenants, including my family's floundering business. Just then, my brother-in-law Gavin showed up, adjusting his tie. What's taking so long? Everyone's waiting for. He noticed me and his expression fell. Elena, didn't expect to see you here. Clearly not, I replied. Gavin just became vice president at his bank, my mother announced with pride. Junior vice president, I corrected automatically, aware of his exact title because his bank manages some of my smaller accounts. My financial team provides me with detailed reports on all our banking partners. Well, it's more impressive than whatever you're doing, Vanessa retorted. What is it now? Assistant manager at some chain restaurant. I reflected on the board meeting I had left early this morning, where we talked about acquiring the very bank that Gavin had worked for. The paperwork was likely still on my desk in my private office upstairs. Something like that, I mentioned. This is absurd, my mother exclaimed. Ella Laner, just leave. You're causing a scene. I'll inform your father that you couldn't attend. Couldn't afford it? You mean? Vanessa chimed in with a laugh. I gazed past them through the grand entrance of the hotel I had built from scratch, admiring the marble floors I had chosen, the crystal chandeliers I had commissioned, and the artwork I had personally curated. Every detail, every inch, belonged to me. For a brief moment, I contemplated walking away. Let them enjoy their party. Let them continue believing whatever they wished. But then I recalled something my first mentor had once told me. Success means nothing if you can't advocate for yourself. My jaw clenched as I squared my shoulders, feeling the strength of everything I had created without their backing or approval. My fingers ceased their tingling, and a wave of calm clarity washed over me. Actually, I said softly, I think I will stay. Before my mother could reply, the heavy glass doors swung open, and Owen, my head of security, stepped out. He had been with me since I purchased my first struggling hotel 7 years ago, assisting in transforming it into the flagship of the Azure chain. Is everything okay here, Madam CEO? His voice resonated clearly across the entrance. Your usual table is ready, and Chef Michelle is holding the menu, awaiting your approval. The ensuing silence was deafening. Vanessa's mouth dropped open, her perfectly applied lipstick suddenly looking garish against her pale complexion. My mother clutched the brass door handle for support. Owen. I smiled warmly. Perfect timing. My family was just explaining how I couldn't afford to dine here. Ma'am. He looked genuinely puzzled. But you own the entire hotel chain. Yes, I do. I turned to my astonished family. Shall we head inside? I believe you've booked the VIP floor. My VIP floor, to be exact. Gavin was the first to regain his voice. This is some sort of joke. You're merely a restaurant manager. Actually, Owen interjected with professionalism. Miss Eleanor is the founder and CEO of Azure Hospitality Group. She owns all 35 Grand Azure hotels globally, along with our resort properties and restaurant chains. Vanessa's designer clutch slipped from her grasp, clattering against the marble steps. But that's impossible. The Grand Azure is valued in the billions. I finished her thought, which makes your remark about me not being able to afford the tasting menu quite amusing. I stepped past them into my hotel's lobby, where the staff immediately stood at attention. "Good evening, Miss Elena," my front desk manager called out. "The executive suite is ready for your father's birthday celebration." "Thank you, Rachel." I turned back to my family, still frozen in the doorway. "Coming?" They followed me in silence, gazing around as if they were seeing the hotel for the first time. Every staff member we passed greeted me by name, each displaying the genuine respect I had earned through years of hands-on leadership. "But your dress," my mother finally managed to say, staring at my simple black dress with fresh eyes. "Custom-made in Paris, around $30,000, I believe." I had developed a terrible habit of not checking price tags anymore. I led them to the private elevator, the one that required a special key I retrieved from my clutch. Unlike Vanessa's dress, which I suspect is a knockoff, the authentic Valentino collection hasn't been released yet. I know this because I attended the private showing last month. The elevator doors opened directly into the VIP lounge where my father's birthday celebration was in full swing. The room fell silent as we entered. "Elena." My father rose from his seat at the head table, his expression a mix of shock and confusion. "What are you doing here? Your mother mentioned that you couldn't afford it." I completed my walk over to him. "Happy birthday. I hope you don't mind me crashing the party at my own hotel." "Your hotel?" Mr. Harrison from the bank stepped forward, a relieved smile spreading across his face. "Miss Elena, I had no idea you were connected to Robert Thompson, and we've been trying to arrange a meeting with you for months regarding that loan. Elena owns the Grand Azure." Thomas Anderson chimed in. "My goodness, Robert, your daughter is the enigmatic CEO who's been acquiring prime real estate throughout the city." My father sank back into his chair, the color draining from his face. "All this time, we thought you were merely a glorified waitress." I raised an eyebrow. "Those were your words, I believe, from the day I left the family firm to chase my dreams in hospitality. But why didn't you tell us?" My mother asked, still clutching her pearls as if they were a lifeline. "Would you have believed me?" I replied softly. "You didn't have faith in me 10 years ago when I needed your support. Why would I share my achievements with those who only value worth by the size of someone's bank account?" I paused, though by that standard, I suppose I'm worth more than everyone in this room combined. Vanessa slumped into a nearby chair, her face pale. "The villa in the south of France that I attempted to rent last summer, the one that was mysteriously unavailable." "That's mine," I confirmed. "My property manager sent me your reservation request, not realizing the connection." I glanced at Gavin. "Just like the office building your firm is struggling to lease, Gavin, and the resort membership you've been waitlisted for, Mother." "Elena," my father began, his voice shaky. We save it," I interrupted, holding up my hand. "I didn't disclose this to hurt you, though you've caused me plenty of pain over the years. I did it because I'm tired of concealing my success to protect your pride." I turned to the room. "Please enjoy the party. Everything is on the house." "My house?" I started to walk away, then hesitated. "Oh, and Dad, that envelope Vanessa refused to let me hand over to you? It's the deed to a villa in Tuscany, one of my most exclusive properties. Think of it as a birthday present from your disappointing daughter." The next hour felt surreal. Individuals who had previously overlooked me at family gatherings suddenly wanted to talk about business opportunities. The Blackwoods were practically pleading for that resort membership. "Mr. Harrison cornered me regarding his bank's loan application." Throughout all of this, my family remained in stunned silence. Vanessa's fiancé vanished after discovering that her guaranteed future partnership at her firm hinged on a lease she couldn't afford in my building. Gavin kept making calls, likely to update his resume. My mother fluctuated between tears and attempting to convince other guests that she had always believed in her daughter's potential. As the evening came to a close, I found my father alone on the terrace, gazing out at the city lights. "Those buildings," he pointed to the skyline. "How many do you own?" "Enough," I replied, standing next to him. including the family firm's building. He nodded slowly. I was wrong about you, Elena. So terribly wrong. Yes, I agreed. You were. Can you ever forgive us? I pondered his question, reflecting on all the years of dismissal and condescension. Forgiveness isn't the issue, Dad. Respect is. You never respected my choices or believed in my abilities. You only respect success after it's been proven. And now I smiled slightly. Now you can tell people your daughter owns the Grand Azure. That should fulfill your need for impressive dinner party conversation. I left him there, making my way to my private office on the top floor. Tomorrow, the family dynamic would change dramatically. Vanessa would no longer be the golden child. My mother would desperately rewrite history to assert that she had always supported me. Gavin and his bank would likely face acquisition. But tonight, I had finally taken my seat at the table. A table I'd built myself in a room I owned under a roof I'd paid for. And that was worth more than any amount of belated family approval.